Good morning! Welcome back to Kids Time. I'm Rebecca, the Children, Youth, and Family Director at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Missoula. And it is so wonderful to be here with you right up front in the playground. Today, we are reading a story from the Old Testament book of Exodus. And you might recognize a character in this story, Moses. Moses is the guy who brings the 10 Commandments from God to God's people. But our story today is about Moses as a little baby. So let's read it together. If you have a Spark Bible, I would invite you to pause this video and go and grab it so that you can follow along with the story. And when you grab your Bible, you can turn to page 66. It's a story called Baby Moses. So let's read it together. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, was afraid. He was rich and powerful and scared. What could he be scared of? Well, strangely enough, Pharaoh was scared of God's people, the Hebrews. He thought there were too many of them, and he was afraid they would try to become more powerful than he was. To make sure that the Hebrews had no power, Pharaoh made them his slaves and ordered them to work very hard. Even worse, he demanded that all of the Hebrew baby boys should be drowned in the Nile River. Because of this, God's people were terribly afraid too. Everyone in Egypt was afraid. During this fearful time, a baby boy was born to a Hebrew mother. She loved her baby boy, and of course she wanted him to live. The baby's mother kept him safe by making a floating basket for him. She put her baby in the basket and then hid it in the water and plants at the edge of the Nile River. The baby's big sister, Miriam, hid near the shore and watched over the basket. What happened next was really amazing. Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to take a bath. She saw the basket among the water and the plants and asked her servant to go and get it. When she opened the basket, she was surprised to see a baby boy crying. This must be one of the Hebrews' children, said Pharaoh's daughter. How awfully cute. Wouldn't it be fun to keep him? Aha, thought Miriam, I can help her. Miriam bravely stepped out of her hiding place. I could probably find someone to help take care of this baby for you until he's a little older, she said. Thank you. That would be perfect, said Pharaoh's daughter. Miriam was excited to tell her mother the news. The baby's mother took good care of him. When he was old enough, he went to live with Pharaoh's daughter. Miriam and her mother prayed he would be safe with her. I think I will name him Moses, said Pharaoh's daughter, because I took him out of the water. Moses lived in Pharaoh's palace until he grew up to be a man. During that time, life became worse and worse for the Hebrews. Eventually, however, Moses helped free God's people so that they could leave Egypt. Now there was something besides fear for God's people. There was hope. There are so many incredible pieces to that story. Maybe sometime this week you can reread it so you notice even more amazing details. But today we're going to think about the very first part of that story because there's something really important to learn. So let's pick up our Bibles and read the beginning again, back on page 66. So we read that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, was afraid. He was rich and powerful and scared. What could he be scared of? Strangely enough, Pharaoh was scared of God's people, the Hebrews. He thought there were too many of them, and he was afraid that they would try to become more powerful than he was. So, wait a second. Who was that character with the funny name? What was his name? Pharaoh. Wait a second. Who's Pharaoh? Well, Pharaoh was the king of Egypt. Instead of king, the Egyptians called their leader a pharaoh. So just like a king, Pharaoh had a lot of power. Can you think of some people in your life who have power? I can think of a few. Well, our parents have power, and teachers have power, and police officers have power, and mayors and governors and presidents, well, they all have power too. Now, power isn't just a good thing or a bad thing. It all depends on how someone uses their power. Anyway, do you remember anything we learned about this powerful Pharaoh in the little bit that we read again? Can you remember what we learned about Pharaoh? We learned that he was afraid. Well, it's okay to be afraid sometimes. You know, I feel that way sometimes, and you feel that way sometimes, and your parents and your teachers and police officers and mayors and presidents and governors, they all feel afraid sometimes too. But you might wonder, what was Pharaoh afraid of? Was it spiders? No, it wasn't spiders. Was it a big lightning storm? No, it wasn't a big lightning storm. Pharaoh, big, powerful Pharaoh, was afraid of people. Why? Well, Pi might be able to help us answer that question. Did someone say pie? Imagine your favorite pie in your mind. Apple pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, chocolate pie. Oh, sorry, I got distracted by all those yummy pies. Now my tummy's rumbling. Well, anyway, you've got your favorite pie in your mind. Now imagine that you were serving your pie to some people at a party or your family. You get to cut the slices and hand them out to people. How big would you cut someone else's piece? Maybe you cut it really small, just a sliver. Or maybe you wouldn't want to cut them a piece at all. After all, the more you give away, the less you have for you, right? What if there's not enough left for you? Sometimes it's easy to think about power like pie. There's only this much, and if you give any away, then there's less for you. But power actually isn't like pie. We don't have to be afraid to give some of ours away. When we share our power with other people, we can actually be a lot happier together. It wouldn't be a very happy party if everyone just sat and watched you eat your pie. For example, imagine that you're playing a game of Simon Says. Well, obviously, you want to be Simon. It's fun to be the leader and tell other people to do silly things, right? But if you were playing at recess and you were the only person who could be Simon, I bet there wouldn't be many people who wanted to play with you. When you're Simon, you are the person who has the power to tell other people what to do. And if you're the only one who gets that power, it's not very fun or fair to anyone else. So what if you gave everyone a turn? Well, you'd be giving up your power in the moment, but eventually everyone would have a turn and it would come back to you. So when you share power, everyone has more fun and is happier than if you just keep it all for yourself. So thank you, friends. Thank you for joining me for Kids Time today. It's always so wonderful to see you here each week. And I'm looking forward to next week. I'll see you right back here. Bye, friends.